She walked into a $15 million lobby in gym clothes. The agent decided what she could afford before she finished a sentence. London Pierce had been searching for 11 months. A black woman, founder of her own real estate company, The Real Buyer. She left training in her pink and white yoga set, towel still around her neck, and went straight to the glass tower on Crest Avenue. No jewelry, sneakers still laced. She wanted to walk in as herself. Brock Whitman read her in under 2 seconds. The damp hair, the plastic bottle clipped to her bag. He arranged his smile. He asked if she wanted the building gym. Then he said it out loud. "This penthouse isn't for your type." The marble went quiet. She set her bag down, slow. Specific or white? What Brock didn't know was who she'd married. A Korean man who moves in 3 black cars. A dragon inked on the side of his neck. The kind of man who changes whole buildings. She could have made one call. She didn't want easy. Not yet. So she opened her bank app instead, thumb steady, and turned the screen toward him. What happened next, no one in that lobby was ready for. Before starting the story, comment down below where you are watching from and what time it is there. If stories of karma, love, and hidden truths move you, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a member and help our channel. London Pierce pushed through the gym doors with her phone already in her hand, towel still around her neck, the pink and white set damp at the small of her back. She didn't slow down. The screen showed a listing she'd opened twice on the treadmill, and once in the shower line afterward. Penthouse. Glass tower on Crest Avenue, 27th floor. She stopped on the sidewalk. People moved around her. She read the address again, then the price, then the address. She'd been looking for 11 months, not browsing, looking. Every building she'd toured had a flaw she could name in a sentence. The ceilings, the elevators, the way the light died by 4. This one didn't. She thumbed open the thread with her husband and typed 3 words. Found our penthouse. Then a second line. Going now. The reply came before she reached the corner. Now? You just left training. That's the point, she wrote back. I want to see it before I talk myself out of it. She didn't wait for him to answer. She flagged a cab and gave the driver the cross street. In the back seat, she pulled the towel off her neck and folded it into her bag, next to the small clutch she carried everywhere. No jewelry, sneakers still laced from the gym. She caught herself checking the mirror and stopped. She wasn't dressing for anyone. What she didn't say to Seo-jun was simpler. She wanted to walk in as herself. The tower rose out of the block like a blade of water. $15 million of glass, the listing had said. And the lobby alone told you the number wasn't a lie. Marble that swallowed footsteps. A ceiling 2 floors high. London crossed it without looking up. A receptionist sat behind a long, pale desk, brown hair in a low bun, a name tag that read, Diane. She glanced at London, then at the door behind her, then back down at her screen. Hi, London said. I'm here about the penthouse, the Crest listing. I'd like to see it. Diane's hand hovered over the phone. Of course. Let me. One moment. Before she could dial, a man came out of a side corridor. He was somewhere near 40, blonde hair slicked back without a strand loose, a suit cut so close it looked grown rather than bought. He had a smile already arranged on his face. London had seen that smile in 100 rooms. It was the one men wore right before they decided what you could afford. I'll take this, Diane, he said, not looking at her. He stopped 6 feet from London and let his eyes do the work. Sneakers, leggings, the damp hair, the plastic gym bottle clipped to her bag. He read all of it in under 2 seconds, and London watched him read it. Can I help you? You can show me the penthouse. The smile held. The penthouse. He said the word like it had quotes around it. Are you here for the building's fitness club? The gym membership desk is around the... I'm here for the 27th floor. He let a small laugh out through his nose. Right. He glanced at her bottle again. You understand the unit. The asking is 15. I understand the unit. He slid a glance toward Diane, the kind that asked her to share something, and Diane looked at her keyboard. He turned back. Let me be straightforward with you. It saves us both time. He folded his hands. This penthouse isn't for your type. The lobby went quiet, in the specific way a room goes quiet when one person decides to be loud. London didn't move for a moment. She set her bag down on the marble, slow and straightened. My type, she said. Our clientele. He spread his fingers. There's a fit. A standard the building maintains. I'm sure you'd be more comfortable. Specific or white? The smile slipped half an inch. Excuse me? My type. Be specific. Or just say white. Behind the desk, Diane's hand had gone still on the mouse. A younger man had stepped out of the same corridor. Light brown skin, a gray suit off a rack, a tablet pressed to his chest. He stopped when he saw them and didn't come closer. The blonde man recovered the smile. I think you've misread the situation. I read it fine. London picked her bag back up. Your name. Brock Whitman, senior agent. He said it like a title that ended arguments. And I really do think you'd be happier looking at properties in a different... Brock. She said it flatly, learning the shape of it. I came to see a penthouse. You decided what I could see before I finished a sentence. I make a judgment. It's my job to... It's your job to open a door. For a second, nothing happened. The younger man by the corridor shifted his weight. Diane reached for her water and didn't drink it. Brock's voice dropped into something smoother, more rehearsed. Ma'am, I've been doing this for 15 years. I know who closes. No offense intended. The no offense came out polished from use. Perhaps your husband handles the... Don't. One word. It landed. He blinked. London looked past him at the elevator bank, then back. She thought of the listing on her phone, the 11 months, the line she'd typed in the cab. She thought of the 3 black cars her husband would send if she made one call, and how easy that would be, and how much she didn't want easy. Not yet. She slid her phone out instead and opened her bank app, thumb steady. You want to know who closes, she said. Let me show you exactly who walked in your door. The screen brightened in her hand. Brock's eyes dropped to it before he could stop them. On the screen was a bank pre-authorization, all cash, the full asking price, plus a margin. London turned the phone so the number sat at his eye level and held it there. Brock read it. His jaw worked once. Anyone can put a screenshot together, he said. It's not a screenshot. She thumbed to the next page. The bank's letterhead. A direct line. A reference code in bold. Call them. The number's right there. He didn't call. He set his weight back on his heels and let his eyes drift past her, toward the elevator, as if a more serious buyer might walk in any second and rescue him. These documents get falsified, Brock said. We see it constantly. People want the address on their profile. They don't have the funds behind it. So call the bank. That's not how we vet. Then how do you vet? He smiled. The smile was the answer, and he knew she heard it. Behind the marble desk, Diane Halloran kept her eyes down on her monitor. Her hand had stopped moving on the mouse. The name tag on her blazer caught the light. She did not look up, and the not looking up was its own kind of statement. Mateo stood 3 feet to Brock's left, tablet against his chest. He shifted his weight. He opened his mouth. Brock, I've got this, Mateo. London noted the junior agent, the off-the-rack gray suit. The way he flinched when Brock said his name like a leash being pulled. She filed him away and came back to the man in front of her. You're refusing a verified all-cash offer, she said. You say that part out loud. I'm protecting the building's standard. Brock slid his hands into his pockets, comfortable now, on ground he'd stood on 100 times. The owners trust me to bring in the right residents, people who fit the culture here. It's not personal. It's extremely personal. It's about preservation. There it was. The word landed soft and clean, and he watched her absorb it, expecting her to fold, expecting the flush of someone who'd been put back in her box. London didn't flush. She lowered the phone. She looked at the floor, the imported stone, polished to a mirror, and then at the wall of glass behind him, the one framing 27 empty units stacked into the sky. She'd looked at the same listing for 3 weeks. She knew exactly how long those units had sat dark. "How many of these have you closed this quarter?" she asked. The question hit a nerve she hadn't aimed for. His smile thinned. "Foot traffic's seasonal. That's a no. That's not your concern. It's about to be." She lifted the phone again, but not toward him this time. She turned slightly, angled away, and tapped a single contact. She let it ring on speaker, low, deliberate, so the lobby filled with the sound of the line connecting. Seo-jun. A pause, then a voice, quiet, even, the kind of quiet that makes a room lean in. "Where are you?" "The tower. The penthouse." She kept her eyes on Brock the entire time. "There's a problem with the agent." "What problem?" "He won't take the offer. Says it's about the building's standard." A beat. "Says it's not for my type." The line went silent. Not dead. Present. The silence of someone setting something down, very carefully. "Don't sign anything," Seo-jun said. "Don't leave." "I wasn't planning to." London. The voice softened by a single degree, the way it only ever did for her. "Is he still talking?" She watched Brock's confidence flicker. Not at the words. He couldn't hear them clearly. But at the way her shoulders had dropped, loose and certain. The posture of someone who had just stopped being alone. "He's deciding whether to keep talking," she said. "Tell me his name." "Brock Whitman." A breath on the other end. Then, "He usually changes whole buildings." The line cut. London lowered the phone. She didn't explain it. She let the sentence hang in the marble air, untranslated, and she watched Brock try to decide whether it was a threat or a woman bluffing. "Who was that?" he said, lighter than he wanted it to sound. "My husband." "And what does your husband do?" "You'll find out." Brock laughed, short, dismissive, and turned to Mateo as if the junior agent were an audience he could perform reassurance for. "Pull the next showing up. We're done here." Mateo didn't move. "Mateo." The young man looked at the tablet, then at London. Something crossed his face. The small private war of a man who needs the job and can't keep the words down. "This showing was mine," Mateo said. Brock turned slowly. "What?" 3:45. "Penthouse viewing." Mateo's voice was quiet, but it didn't shake. "It was assigned to me this morning. By the listing manager. I had the appointment in my calendar." He swallowed. "You took it off my schedule an hour ago, after you saw the client photo." The lobby went very still. London turned to face Mateo fully for the first time. He poached the showing. Brock started. "After seeing my photo." She said it slowly, fitting the pieces together out loud so no one in the room could pretend not to hear them. "You saw who was coming, and you took the appointment from him, so you'd be the one standing here to turn me away." Diane's hand had gone completely still on the desk. Brock recovered fast. Too fast. The recovery of a man who'd done this before. Mateo's confused. He's new. He misreads the system constantly. "I'm not confused," Mateo said. "I have the original assignment email. You're going to want to think very hard about your next sentence." And there it was. The threat dropped on the only person in the room with something to lose. London watched the boy hold his ground, jaw tight, eyes wet at the edges and refusing to spill, and she felt the shape of the whole thing shift under her feet. This had never been about whether her money was real. She'd walked in thinking she had to prove she belonged. She'd been wrong about the game entirely. The game was older than her offer, older than today. A door someone guarded for sport, and a young man being taught, in real time, what happened to people who tried to open it for the wrong kind of buyer. Her phone buzzed once against her palm. 3 black cars. 16 minutes out. She slid it into her bag, the small one at her hip, and she smiled at Brock Whitman for the first time since she'd walked through his door. "Keep talking," she said. You've got about 15 minutes left to say it all. Brock pocketed his phone with a flick of his wrist. He had not used the 15 minutes to say anything. He had used them to wait. You're still here, he said. I am. He looked past her, toward the elevators, as if she were already gone. Then he raised his voice. Not at her. At the lobby. Diane. Can we get someone to walk the lady out? Diane's hands froze over the keyboard. The name tag on her blazer caught the light. She didn't move toward the phone. She didn't move at all. She found her own way in, Diane said, quiet. That wasn't the question. London set her handbag on the marble counter. Slow, deliberate. She unzipped the side pocket and pulled out the folded bank pre-authorization again, the one he'd called fake an hour ago. She smoothed it flat on the stone between them. Read the account number out loud, she said. I don't read fan mail. Read it, then call the bank. The number's on the bottom. Brock didn't look down. A small group had stopped near the revolving door. 2 men in suits, a woman with a leather portfolio. Walter Brennan stood among them, glasses low on his nose, watching the way a man watches a deal go sideways before he's signed anything. Brock noticed the audience. His smile widened. Folks, apologies for the scene. We hold a certain standard at this address. He gestured at London without looking at her. At the leggings, at the sneakers, at her skin. I'm sure you understand. The woman with the portfolio looked away. Walter did not. London felt the heat climb her neck. She kept her chin level. She'd learned that trick at 19, in rooms exactly like this, and it had never failed her. Make the room work to see you flinch. She would not give it for free. You called my money fake, she said. Say it again, in front of them. I said your document doesn't meet our verification process. That's not what you said. It's what the record will show. There it was. The gate, owning itself. He wasn't lying to her. He was building the version that survived. Mateo came out of the side corridor, with his tablet pressed to his chest. He stopped 6 feet short, mouth half open, then closed it. Brock turned just enough to catch him. The viewing's handled, Brock said. Go reprint the Mercer file. The viewing was mine, Mateo said. The lobby went quieter. Even Diane looked up. It was assigned to me, Mateo went on, voice thin but holding. 11 a.m. Penthouse. Her name's on the calendar. You took it off this morning. Brock laughed once, short. He's confused. New hires. I'm not confused. You're done for the day. Brock didn't raise his voice now. That was worse. Tablet. Desk. Go. Mateo's hand tightened on the tablet. He looked at London. She gave him the smallest shake of her head. Not yet. He swallowed and stepped back against the wall. But he didn't leave. He stayed where she could see him. She picked up her phone. Calling your bank? Brock said. Save the performance. She wasn't calling the bank. She tapped one name and turned slightly, so the screen faced the marble and not him. It rang twice. I'm in the lobby, she said. Glass tower on Vesey. The agent won't let me pass the desk. A pause. No. He says the building has a standard. Another pause. Her voice didn't rise. He's saying it in front of people now. On the other end, low and even, Seo-jun said something short. Don't, she said into the phone. I want to finish this part myself. She hung up. Brock had been watching her mouth. Boyfriend coming to rescue you? Husband, she said. And, no. She slid the bank letter back across the counter toward Diane instead of Brock. Scan this, London said. Timestamp it. I want a record that I presented it, and it was refused at the desk on June 22nd. Diane glanced at Brock. Brock's jaw worked. Don't touch it, he said. It's a public lobby document request, London said. She can decline. Then I'll note that too. Diane's hand hovered. Then she pulled the paper toward herself, set it on the glass scanner, and pressed the green button. The machine hummed. Brock's face changed by 1 degree. You think a scan does anything, he said. It does one thing, London said. It means you can't say it never happened. She gathered her handbag. She wasn't leaving. She was clearing the counter so the next thing had room. Walter Brennan stepped closer, portfolio under his arm. You the buyer for the penthouse? Walter asked her, plain. For the building, London said. Brock cut in fast. She's not a client. She walked in off the street in gym clothes and a screenshot. Walter studied her sneakers, then her face. He'd sold property to men in worse shoes who owned more than this tower. He said nothing, but he didn't walk away either, and Brock saw it, and something behind his eyes shifted toward calculation. Diane, Brock said, delete that scan. It's logged, Diane said. I can't undelete a log. Then we have a problem with you too. The threat landed in the open. Mateo flinched against the wall. London watched a man burn the only two people in the room who'd shown a spine, and she understood, finally, that he would rather torch the whole desk than be seen losing to her. This was the floor. The lowest tile, no viewing, no keys. Her money called fake into a record he controlled. Two strangers told to fear him for being decent. Her husband told to stay away by her own mouth. She walked to the center of the lobby, under the chandelier, where everyone could see her. She set her handbag down on the marble bench. She sat. I'll wait here, London said. For what? Brock said. She crossed one leg over the other, calm as a closed door. For the room to change hands. Outside, beyond the glass, the first of 3 black cars slid to the curb and stopped. The second car stopped behind the first, then the third. 3 black hoods lined the curb like a sentence forming word by word. Inside the lobby, the temperature seemed to drop. Brock turned toward the glass. His practiced smile stayed where it was, but his eyes moved too fast now, counting cars he hadn't booked, drivers he didn't know. Are we expecting someone? He asked the room. No one answered. Diane stepped back from the reception desk. Mateo straightened, folder against his chest. London didn't move from her chair. She uncrossed her legs and set both feet flat on the marble, the way a person does right before they stand. The first door opened. A man in a dark suit got out, scanned the street, then opened the rear door. Kang So-jun stepped onto the curb and buttoned his jacket with one hand. He didn't hurry. He never hurried. He crossed the plaza in a straight line, drivers falling in behind him at a distance, and when the glass doors slid apart he brought the cold in with him. The dragon on his neck caught the light at the collar, then disappeared again under crisp black. You're late, London said. Traffic. His voice was low and even. He stopped beside her chair and looked at the room once. The whole room. The way you look at a thing you already own. Brock recovered first. He always recovered first. He extended a hand and the smile clicked back to full wattage. Sir, welcome. Brock Whitman. I handle all premium acquisitions in this tower. I think there's been a small misunderstanding with... He tilted his head at London without looking at her. With the lady, if you're the actual buyer, I'd be glad to start fresh. Seo-jun looked at the hand. He did not take it. Say her name, Seo-jun said. Brock blinked. I'm sorry? The lady. You've been talking to her for 2 hours. Say her name. The smile thinned. I don't believe I... London Pierce Kang. Seo-jun said it quietly, and the quiet was worse than shouting. Founder of Pierce Holdings. The pre-authorization you called fake was drawn against her company. The viewing you stole from your own junior was hers. He let it sit. You didn't refuse my purchase, Mr. Whitman. You refused hers. The blood left Brock's face in stages. He turned to London, and for the first time all afternoon he actually saw her. Not the pink and white set, not the skin, not the gym bag at her feet. The buyer. Ms. Pierce, he started. If I had known. That's the whole problem, London said. She stood now. In flat sneakers, she still made him take a step back. You didn't need to know who I was. You needed to read the bank letter. You chose the skin instead. Mateo's folder had gone still against his chest. Diane was filming with her phone low at her hip, and no one stopped her. Seo-jun turned toward the elevators, then paused. "Bring the fund representative down," he told the room. "Walter Brennan. He's expecting us." Brock's mouth opened. "Mr. Brennan reports to my desk on this building." "Not anymore." Seo-jun didn't even raise his voice for it. Walter Brennan came down in 90 seconds. Gray hair, glasses, a leather portfolio under his arm, and the calm of a man who had stopped caring about anything except numbers a long time ago. He shook London's hand first. He had read the letter that morning. He knew exactly who held the cash. Ms. Pierce, pleasure. He set the portfolio on the reception desk and clicked it open. "You inquired about the penthouse. I'm authorized to tell you the penthouse isn't the only thing available." "How many units total?" London asked. 27. "The developer wants out clean." London glanced at Seo-jun. He gave the smallest nod a man can give and still call it an answer. "We'll take all 27, London said. "Under Pierce Holdings." Today, Brennan was already pulling pages. "I can have the framework drafted before close of business." Brock stepped between them. Some part of him still believed there was a sale to save. "The commission structure on a full-floor acquisition is significant," he said. "Fast now," almost pleading. "And as the agent of record, I'd be the natural." "You're not the agent of record," London said. She turned and looked at the young man by the wall. "Mateo Silva is." Mateo's head came up. "The viewing was assigned to him," London went on. "You took it off his calendar this morning. I have the timestamp. He brokers this deal." She let her eyes return to Brock. "At zero commission for you." The folder finally slipped in Mateo's hands. He caught it against his thigh and just stood there, breathing. "And one more line in the contract," London added. "An anti-discrimination clause for every showing in this tower, in writing, with teeth. Mr. Brennan will draft it. Mateo will enforce it." "You can't write a policy into a private sale," Brock said. "I just bought the sale," London said. "I can write whatever I want into my own building." Brennan didn't look up from his pages. "She can," he said. It took the rest of the afternoon. Brock stood by the glass for most of it. Then he stopped standing there, and at some point he wasn't in the lobby at all. By the time the framework was signed, the leasing firm had already opened a file on him. The stolen viewing, the rejected pre-authorization, Diane's video. Word travels in a tower made of glass. Within the week he was under review by 2 boards and licensed by none. 3 weeks later, London stood under the canopy at the tower entrance in a vibrant tailored dress, hair impeccable, a small ribbon stretched across the doors. A new name had gone up over the lobby in brushed steel, Pierce Tower. Mateo handled the keys now, a real title on his card. Diane still worked the desk, and she smiled this time. Seo-jun stood at London's shoulder, hands in his pockets, saying nothing, which was how he said the most. A reporter near the front asked why she'd bought the whole building when she'd only wanted one apartment. London looked up at her name in steel, then back at the small crowd. "Sometimes," she said, "it's good to buy the room, just to make that clear." She cut the ribbon. "Especially when someone tells you it isn't for your type." If you want to watch all the stories without any ads and also get access to bonus scenes, extended epilogues, and exclusive spicy chapters, head over to our Patreon. Scan the QR code on the screen. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. See you there. If this story moved you, stop for a moment and reflect. Have you ever walked into a room where someone decided what you were worth before you said a word? Did you ever own more than the people gatekeeping you ever imagined, and choose silence over proving it? When the door finally opened, did you walk through it for revenge, or just to make the truth undeniable? Tell us your experiences and feelings in the comments. We read them all. And if you believe in stories about dignity, karma, and power, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a part of our community and help the channel.